Okay, welcome everybody to our regular meeting for the City Council of City of Perry. Let's call our meeting to order and have roll call.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall. Davis. Here. Goldar.
Here.
Rutt.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Boucher. Wortham.
Here. All right, we've got quorum. And tonight we're going to have our invocation by Pastor Ronnie Wilson.
How are you, sir?
Doing good.
So, let me tell you a little bit about what we got going on.
Absolutely.
Is that all right?
Please do.
So, Life 180 Church, you guys know where we're at. We're at 104 East First Street. I love saying that we've turned a bar into a church where we're at. Just a lot of good things going on. This coming Sunday, we're doing something called 30-Second Theology, which is hosted through Life Church. It's where we actually take commercials from the Super Bowl, we break them down and find biblical truths in them. And so it's a great Sunday to come and be a part, or invite people to come be a part of church. And so always you're invited to that. Next week, at the end of next week, we actually close on our land purchase out on 86 Highway. We purchased land right out kind of by the county on the district right on the highway. So we're excited about that. Get to close on that. And then before I pray, I'll tell you that I always invite people to come to church. And like whenever I come here and pray, I always say, hey, if you don't have a church home, come see us sometime. But I never really thought about the camera on the wall. And last time after I was here and I invited everyone and said, if you don't have a church home, come see us. We had a family of 6 come to church who has now locked arms, started coming to church, started attending, started serving. And so I appreciate the opportunity to come and to pray with you and to lead you in that. And I've encouraged all the other ministers in town, don't take it lightly. Like whenever you get the opportunity, go do that. So that was a family that was actually watching the city council meeting online. And so, they came for a few weeks and I talked to them. I asked them if it was okay if I shared the story. And after about 3 weeks, they said, so you have any idea how we heard about you? And I said, I have 0 idea. Like, I don't know. At that time we didn't have a sign up. And they said, we were watching city council one night and you come on and prayed. And I'm like, really? Like, that's awesome. So God works in mysterious ways.
Wow.
So, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the opportunity. Let me pray and I'll let you get to business. Heavenly Father, God, I come to you and I thank you, God, for each man and woman that's here. God, I pray that you would just bless them for their time. I thank you for their time and their energy, God. I pray that you would just help clear their minds of things from earlier today and things for tomorrow, and that they'd be able just to focus on the business that's at hand, God, right before them. God, I just pray that you would bless them. I pray you'd bless their families. I thank you for a city that we have that we can worship you freely. And God, I pray that we just continue to never take that for granted, but that we just love and embrace you, God. God, we thank you for these men and women and just for constantly moving our city forward. And I just pray again, you would just watch over and guide them. God, I love you. I praise you. I ask you to forgive me where I fail you. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
See you both.
All right. We'll start off with item number 1, our consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
You wanna
Go ahead.
I'd like to move, take off B, C, and D for some discussion.
Okay. Do we need a second for that, or we just pull them off?
You pull them off.
Okay. All right. So we'll come back to item 1. Let's go to item 2. Item removed for consent agenda for discussion. So let's start with item B.
I had some questions on some of the, I guess, the invoices from Cimarron Valley Engineering. I know a lot of those invoices were for the Perry Lake project. What were some of those other projects? Some that were, I guess, budgeted for, like the drainage and ball field improvements. That one was, and the tower drainage stuff. Where was all those? Did those need to be reapproved?
Well, Nate has, as city manager, has authority up to $50,000 that you've given him. So he at times gives, a direction to the engineers so that when the documents get here, they're at least been reviewed by the engineer. For instance, the drainage ordinance is what you're seeing today. There was a lot of work, as you spoke, on the Perry Lake dam. We're working on, we're having those meetings with Stillwater. We're working on those reimbursement agreements, which incidentally, the state is now signed. We approved that at the last meeting. The state is signing it, and working on those other ones.
BMAC was budgeted for in the last budget cycle, FY26.
Okay, what are we looking at there? Is that something that we need to talk about later, I guess?
No, we can talk about it now. BMAC Phase 2, again, budgeted this last year.
Okay.
Concept plan
Okay.
is the idea behind that.
Okay, thank you. And what's the FAP? Oh, that's the water treatment plant.
Yep.
So my understanding was the invoices that go on the consent agenda, and I'm sure I'm wrong, so I just want clarity. The invoices that go on the consent agenda were projects that we've already approved a project in that amount, and this is just showing the invoice, or this is just any invoice that we have the opportunity to see?
These are the invoices submitted by him each month, just
Okay.
like the invoices that I submit or Russ submits as CFO. We're not separating, the invoices per product. We used to set that out in a separate agenda item and provided more detail. We are asked to put that on the consent agenda. I will be happy to place that, with more information, because you very well want more information on
I think we're
on those.
good.
And if you want that, we can go back to the other way so that it's presented right there.
I think we're good. We have the opportunity to pull it out if we want more discussion.
Or you can pull it out, but he wouldn't necessarily be here. If you wanted it as a separate item, we could provide more information than is on his invoice. On each one of them, we could say, this is what that's for, that's what it's tied to. But it's just whatever you want. As much transparency as you want, we will provide it.
But I think to clarify, because I think I'm thinking the same way Scott is that we discussed changing to a system where once we approved a budget item for an X amount of dollars, that gave Nate the authority to go ahead and approve those invoices as long as it came within that approval dollar amount that we put in. Is that correct? Right. But there were some invoices on here that didn't quite fall into that same.
Yeah, to answer your question, consent agenda is not just for those items. It's for anything that we feel from your direction in the past that doesn't need to be discussed as a group and just needs to be acknowledged.
Okay.
And I do see that, I think from the last time we discussed some of these invoices, he's added some comments at the bottom of that invoice where it kind of makes it a little bit more clear than just seeing the project number up at the top. Sometimes the project number doesn't mean nothing to me. So that description down there at the bottom sure makes a difference. Maybe even to the point of getting rid of the acronym, so I don't have to think so hard about it whenever I see it.
Yeah.
And I do keep track of all of those invoices. We have Don, our accounting clerk, put them in a spreadsheet where I keep track of the total amount for each project. So if you ever have any questions about total amount spent, things like that, just reach out. Happy to answer.
I don't mind them being in consent. I think if it's new projects, things that we haven't talked about, we may have budgeted for them, but if it's a new project that's happening, and I get this one was well within your spending limit, but I'd just like to talk about them and know what's going on, have an understanding there. That'd be my concern.
There's been so much going on lately that it's like you forget what projects we've talked about sometimes.
think we can structure and this is kind of getting into things that we can talk about in our planning session next week. Yeah, our strategic planning session. You know, how to use the consent agenda, how to open up more opportunities to have discussion on projects and things like that in the meeting itself, so that we can streamline the invoices and the numbers and things like that, and actually talk about the updates and the progress of the projects in our meeting, as opposed to just going through having 20 items on our agenda that are invoices.
Right.
So that people that are watching don't get bogged down or bored with invoice this, invoice that, invoice this. We just discuss progress and updates on projects.
I think it's a little shocking to just, we've got so much going on, I'm not used to seeing these many
Right?
engineering invoices.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that we're, and I know that we are, I want to make sure that we're in line with everything that's going on, because we do get asked.
But any other discussion on item B? Did you have any questions on those?
We gotta put that, right, is that what you want?
Yeah, we will, and we can do that in item 3. We can approve the whole consent agenda
Oh, okay.
or take them individually. But we can move on to item C on that. So what was your question with item C?
Item C with the Darren Hughes, I noticed that person's ORWA position was coming up as a board of directors. I'm assuming he's the one that's already on the board, and we're just
Confirming it?
confirming his place, or voting to renominate him as a director?
That's correct. Or if you wanted to participate, you could nominate yourself. You know, you have that from time to time. If so, you need to fill out, there's a portion
Right.
on that ballot you need to figure out. So or you could nominate Nate. I'm sure he's got plenty to do. You know, our time with the Oklahoma Rural Water Association has been short. We haven't really been linked up with them for a long period of time, but we have found that they're a great resource, and that they provided a lot of good work. So, yeah, we put it on consent. Sometimes we put those separately on the agenda. I just wasn't sure if anybody might want to be on.
Well,
the-
it didn't look like were there any other options, and I didn't
List
see that
list somebody, or
Okay.
or for him
Or
for
for
that
him, okay.
director one. Yes.
Okay.
What does Region 1 include?
I'm sorry.
What does, this is Region 1, what does Region 1 geographically include, do we know?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't look super deeply into this. What I did is said, okay, he's already on there, and we've had a good relationship with the board generally. And last year, I couldn't even pick his name out of, or pick his face out of a crowd. Just,
I don't have that map.
But we have to nominate him as a city council, he's not already a candidate? Or is
He
this
is.
what we're voting for him to be?
You're voting for him, or you're suggesting another candidate?
yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I had more information on it. I've just spent my time doing other things.
So does one of those directors come up every year? Or is this a once in a, or am I asking too many questions?
We have several of these that we
Yeah.
nominate to
Like
boards,
NODA,
but
Right.
Yeah.
this one's not that familiar to me.
Well, this one's fairly new. I think this is the first time we've ever had this,
Okay.
Mhm.
That's what it
Item
felt
up.
like to me.
this item on the agenda. And that's because they're a new group, and we've just, we've recognized their importance. They sent us, we put it on the agenda.
I don't know that I've got any problem nominating Darren, but I think next year I would like to know a little bit more about it. Just to see if there's somebody more local that we can encourage to be a part of it.
Does it,
Or give more input to
Does it
Darryl
make
if
it-
that's the,
yeah. Does it make a difference to have somebody locally?
Darren, sorry.
Darren?
All right, any other questions on item C? All right, and item D. Declare a surplus and no longer useful for municipal purposes certain office furniture and equipment. Any questions did you have on that one?
Well, I know it's petty or not, there was no list of furniture and equipment that was listed, and maybe, I don't know why, but I would think if we're gonna surplus things, it would be nice to have some sort of list attached to that item,
That was my fault,
On
I
the
didn't complete
agenda.
the list.
so.
It's old chairs, a copier that doesn't work. Basic stuff like, basically that's the three things
Right.
that's on it.
Yeah, there's 2 roller chairs, 1 leather office chair, and a copier. And yeah, we apologize, we should include that list for you guys.
That's all I had.
All right. Well, let's jump over to item 3. Consider an act on items removed from the consent agenda, if any.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, the whole consent agenda?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's have a roll call.
If I can type, good. Okay, Coffee,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Marshall. Oh, sorry. Davis, I'm not used to her being gone. Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Bochet.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right, let's move on to item number 5. Proclamations, commendations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. So we have our council reports, Ward 1. Scott?
Just a lot of phone calls about the church downtown. It's the only thing I've had this week.
Yeah.
Same.
Same. Joe?
Yeah, same, yeah. I mean, I guess I will just make a comment that, as the also fairgrounds manager, we do have the county fair coming up, or county stock show coming up next week. No, yeah, next week, so we're getting ready for that. A lot of things have happened this weekend at the fairgrounds and leading up to that, so there'll be a lot of activity out there next week, starting on Monday.
Nice. All right, Randy?
Similar, got quite a few emails and calls concerning the possibility of a church downtown. But secondly, I actually got, several people remarked to me how pleased they were with how quickly our street department cleaned the streets.
Yeah.
Several people were very impressed that when they got up that Saturday morning, there was already some major arteries that were clean, and so that was a lot of snow. Thank you to those crews for cleaning that up. It was, that made life a lot easier.
I'll pass that on, thanks.
Yeah. And Derek?
I was gonna say the same thing as Randy. So, no additional.
No additional? All right. Sammy?
No additional.
All right. I guess the only thing that I learned today, and I guess maybe Christy can elaborate more on this, but so with the winter weather, if you have a water line freeze and break, you can get a partial reimbursement?
As long as you haven't had one already in
Right.
the year. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't
If
know
you have
this.
any water breaks, all you have to do is contact the city. We will let you know that all you really need to do is bring in your receipts after you have it repaired. We will get it turned in, and the billing clerk will evaluate it and do the adjustment. So, yeah,
On the usage.
On the
right?
usage.
on your usage, yes.
Yeah. So that's something I didn't know. So if anybody had water line freeze and break and you got it fixed,
He learned because my son did.
yeah, you can go down to City Hall and get that reflected on your utility bill. All right, let's go to item number 6, city manager report.
I have just a couple things. The first is Randy, last time you asked about the street light for on the south side being out. Just wanted to let you know I've passed that on to them. They put it in their queue to take care of, but just wanted to make sure that I'm following up when you guys bring stuff to me.
There's a new one strobing since then.
I saw that too. And yeah, I
I thought
haven't
I was
told them
gonna
about that
have a
one yet.
seizure driving. I was like, oh, don't look.
That's the most to check to see if you've gotten the COVID.
I was wondering, I was gonna ask because I was wondering if, well, maybe it was just that night, but it sounds like it's been going.
Yeah.
So,
So when you say they, it's our crew, right?
it's our crew, yeah, it's our crew. In terms of current projects, we've begun reviewing budget with the directors. So that's always a busy time of year to look at that and make cuts where we need to and prioritize things so that we can be prepared to bring you something, you know, in April is what we've tried, April, May. So that's been keeping us busy. Additionally, I wanted to bring up that our officers, the majority of them have been certified with their Byrna guns, and Chief brought his, and I'll let him kind of talk a little bit about that briefly, if that's okay.
Good evening, council. So it's been close to a year, a lady came into the office and she said, "You guys have burner rifles?" And I said, "No, we've heard of them, but we couldn't fundamentally say, city, we need these on duty all the time." So she came in and she goes, "I want to buy you one and I want to buy the sheriff one. You guys need these guns." The sheriff and I did some research on them and they're quite amazing. So she came back in and she said, "No, I think you guys need 2 of these guns apiece." And we're like, okay. So basically it was a funny story. She came in, I called the dealer because when you buy in quantity, maybe you can get a little cut break or price break. And he said, "Yeah, I can cut you this." And he gave it an amount. He goes, "Is this going to be through the city?" And she goes, "Are you ready for my credit card number?" And she just bought them for us. So the market on Byrna though, when you buy Byrna, when you buy Taser, you have to go to their schools to be certified because there's a lot of less lethal instructors. We have one, but for the Byrna, you have to go to Byrna school to be certified. Unfortunately, it was in Houston, Texas, and we kept trying to get a class. Finally, we got him in a class. He went down there, spent 2 days. So when you become an instructor, you're allowed to come back, and we all qualify, and we are allowed to carry these now. So we all went out. I think 80% of our department, the guys that work nights didn't show up. We all qualified with them, but they're a great tool. But we come to the conclusion, so if we're sitting here, not everybody has one. So what we're going to do is each supervisor will have one on duty when he's done at shift. It comes in a nice case, give the case to the next shift, and just have one available if we need it at any time. But this gun here will shoot 325 feet per second. It's effective up to 100 feet. Now the CO2, as you can see, it just screws into the gun. You've got the magazine, which holds 19 rounds apiece. So when you put it in there and you sit there and you actually boom, 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 clip it out, you just go to the next one and you got another 19 rounds. Or 18 rounds. But they just, you say you got 18, and so they're quick mags. They're developed just like an AR-15. You got your sights on them that pop up. I mean, it operates just like an AR. There's your shut-off valve. And we're very just fortunate to have these.
What does it shoot, Chief?
That's what I was getting ready to
they
ask.
shoot. The balls are like this, and they come with CO2 gas and pepper. So, if you've ever done paintball, they sting when you get hit anyway. These have some punch to them. So when you hit somebody there, basically the gas and the pepper blows in their face, they're blind. And we've watched videos. I mean, if you're ever bored at night, go to YouTube, type in Byrna and watch some of these videos. They're incredible. But a guy had a traffic stop, probably 60 feet away, and he had the gun. The guy would not get out of the car. He opened his door and he said, "Less lethal," and he just started shooting rounds inside the car. When it hit the windshield, the gas got him, he comes out, "I'm done." So there's so many uses that we could use that if we ever get in a situation, somebody on a porch, and they're not kept complying. Taser's only good 25 feet. The Taser's a great tool. When you're in training, everything works perfect. You're out on the range, no stress, but when somebody's running at you full speed in your heart and you don't get that Taser round off good, you're still fighting because it didn't hit the proper spot where you do training. Same with the gun. If I hit you twice with that gun, you're A, hurting from getting hit with it. Now you're blind from all the gas and the CO2 hitting you in the face. So when he came back, he said, "Ned, we need to look at the Byrna pistols." I'm like, "Why?" So I did some research on those, and we've actually got one coming for a demo to see if we like it. And in my opinion, if I have a Byrna pistol, I'm shooting 2 magazines, 9 rounds per mag. I've got 18 shots compared to one with a taser. And these are at 400 feet per second, the pistols are, instead of 325 with the rifle. So we're something looking into. I mean, we're a small department. I hate it when my guys have to go hands-on. If we got tools, we don't fight force with force. I mean, you got fists, we got toys. If you come at us with a bat, we got a gun. We always escalate. We don't need force with force. So if we got the tools to keep these guys safe, that's what I really want. So we're very fortunate she came in, bought these for us, and we're waiting on a nice day. So I told her she gets to come shoot, and she's looking forward to it. And I believe she's in her 80s, so she's really looking forward to coming out and shooting with us. So, but anyway, I just wanted to show you that is a new toy. We just want to keep people safe in town, and we have the tools to do it. That's what we want to do, is make sure we have the proper equipment to do our jobs with. So, all right, any questions?
No practicing on each other like
So,
tasers.
so Danny.
I know where you live. I can shoot from my drive right here, so. So anyway, so.
Tell her thank you.
No, we didn't have to get shot with them. We tried to get an officer to take a shot. They said after we shot at targets, they're like, absolutely not, so. But, I mean, anytime you want to come out, we do have practice rounds, so if you're bored someday and it's nice, go, "Hey, what y'all doing?" Take you out the range, let you shoot one if you like to shoot it, so. We got plenty of practice rounds, so.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, so that's exciting. Other news with the police department is the remodel over there is going really well. Excited to show you what that looks like once they finish it. And then lastly, we've been working really hard with negotiations with the unions. We've opened those up, and we're fairly pleased with how things started off. So we'll keep you updated on how those go and where they end up, but that's my report unless there's specific questions.
Nate, the lights on for, seems like there's something always going wrong with them. Is that something we need to try to look out in the future and try to get some kind of project put together to replace them, or?
You know, it's a good question. From my understanding, most of the issues have come because of that sidewalk project that went in right there, and it wasn't closely watched. They didn't have a good inspector over the project, and so they cut some things and did some things across that line that are causing issues now. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I could ask Wheatley, you know, would replacing these help? And, you know, it's kind of interesting because there's been 2 major issues. One has been them going out, which is from the sidewalk project, but then the second one is the purple, right?
Yeah.
And that's just a defect in those specific lights. So we won't see that. I mean, we'll see it while we have these lights, but it's not a long-term thing.
So if it's because of the sidewalk project, we send that back to those contractors? If they were damaging?
They have a certain amount of time, yeah, they have a certain amount of time to be held responsible. I think you keep a bond on file. I'm sure that time is up. It's usually a year.
It of course wasn't our project.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
right.
ODOT's project.
That's right.
And you know,
Yeah.
and they knew it was there,
Mhm.
and we informed them
Yeah.
that there was issues, and that's all I'm gonna say about it,
Right.
you know?
So those lights are city, maintained by the city, but the street is maintained by ODOT.
It was ODOT's, did the sidewalk project.
Right.
Yeah. But we maintain the
The
streets,
lights.
yeah, the best I know, we maintain the lights. I will tell you this, Blackwell, you know, the run into their city, like 5 miles,
Mhm.
they've removed every other light are in the process of moving every other pole and light to cut down on cost. I just point that out. I don't know the shape of their lights, but they have more than enough to replace, and there may be some. They're really tall lights, and there may be some something there that could be worked out. I think about that, and then I think about the other entrance that we have to the community that isn't, I don't believe, is lit at all, right?
No,
And we're about to put the trucks, the truck stop out there, so there may be some synchronicity we could do with our neighbor.
Because it is such a marquee thing when you pull in,
Yeah.
but if they're not working, it has just the opposite effect.
Right.
It's kind of that ghost town look.
Yeah. I guess even my question with that is, so the city maintains lights even though it's a state highway, just because it's our easement or?
There are lights.
Yeah.
It's the same with traffic lights too, actually. They'll install, but then we're on the maintenance afterward.
Oh, okay.
So that's how ODOT does things. They say, yeah, we're happy to put it in, then
Right.
it's yours.
Gotcha.
What was the number for those? Very expensive. Do you remember
Lights,
that
they're
number?
pricey. I don't remember the cost.
So then when we do the truck stop on the other highway, do we know if ODOT's gonna do lights out there, or is that gonna come in on
That's
us?
probably something that we ought to check,
Ask
that's something we ought to check on.
Did you mean streetlights or stoplights?
Street lights.
No, there is no stoplight.
That's, yeah, I thought we had that answer, but I was.
Right. But the street lights, because there's nothing over there. Sooner's Corner is the brightest thing out there.
Mhm.
Okay, well, any other questions for Nate? All right, thank you, Nate.
Absolutely.
Let's go on to item number 7, CFO remarks and invoice.
Well, for the month of January, it actually was a little bit busier month than normally we have in January. The normal month-end stuff, so financials, you guys know that part, that W-2s, 1099s all had to go out, reconciliations on those pieces, so you'll see that on the invoice. That the 1099Ss also had to go out. The, let's see, we had the IAA meeting, and work on it. We had some health insurance prelim looks on cost and at least exposure of what that's going to start looking like. So we've had some discussions around that. Plugging the wells out of the dam project came up. We took care of, or at least looked at a handful of pieces on that. The sidewalk budget, another piece that we mentioned, was also on our list last month. We had 2 bigger items that I'll explain just a tad bit about. Number 1 was the PFA Holdings, PFA Holdings and the Perry Facility Authority. Our line of credit, our construction line that we're using to borrow on to finish up that construction project had expired. So we had to work with the bank first and get that piece renewed and extended. That will mature, the construction line will mature whenever we get construction complete, and that'll turn into a permanent financing piece. So we had to spend a couple of days with Kenny trying back and forth, trying to get all of that worked out and get all of that in place. So hopefully that is now taken care of. And then the last thing that we worked on was Mr. Coffey's request about how was the revenue increase over the 12-month period that we had. Budget versus expected, we were about $12,000 more than what we had budgeted. So when we originally said, when we originally put the numbers out, based on how they came out, we ended up about $12,000 better than expected. So right in line with those utility rate increase numbers that we had looked at. So that was kind of the highlights of what we took care of last month. Any questions?
I'm just curious, the state legislature's now started back up. There's a lot of talk about the state budget. I want to say one of the numbers they were thrown around was $600 million less money than they had the previous year. Do we anticipate the state having less money rolling down to some of the programs that they may be sharing with us going away as well? Or is there any way to even anticipate something like that?
Well, it's gonna depend on where they choose to cut those pieces and then how they tend to look at that, you know, I mean, education being one of the big pieces, you know, but where are they going to pull from to work on that education shortfall? I don't know specifically. It's gonna be, at least my discussions with our senator up here, with the House rep that I have good relationship with, you know, they're pulling back and forth between them and the governor on what are going to be the focus and what are going to be, you know, the priorities. So over the next, 90 days, we'll hear a whole lot come out. We'll just wait and see what those really play out to be. But as far as direct to our programs, we did get some news this week. Preston, actually, I heard about it. Is it actually official?
Yeah,
On-
that's official, those
On
rules.
the FAP piece, the OWRB is going to be doing a 25% up to $1 million loan forgiveness program again. So that's going to be a big piece.
Only
on-
sewer side
on-
right now.
On wastewater, yes. So it's on wastewater, but that's 25% number. That doesn't answer directly your question, but that is another piece that's out there. Now, I literally got announced today. We had heard about it coming down last week, and we're at least talking about it as far as some other things that could be looked at. So, that's a funding piece that's going to be out there. It does require an OWB debt piece to go along with it. So, we've got to be careful in how we maximize those dollars. But there will be a funding source for wastewater this year.
I think the other answer to your question, because it wasn't just this year, it was last year too, they didn't fund up those Department of Commerce grants that we were the beneficiary of, which paid for the sewer line that went out to our South Commercial Park. It also paid for a number of engineering projects, and heck, Enid got like $20 million of that, and we got a nice piece, but they weren't able to fund that, and I mean, we'll see if they're able to fund any part of that, but that's really where the rubber meets the road. If you can get a grant to fund, engineering or improvements, infrastructure improvements in your industrial park, we can see what a big impact that can have to our communities. So hopefully some of that will continue, but they pulled all that last year.
And I think that's kind of it just seems like several of the big exciting things that we've gotten done. Your portion of it is 5%, or your portion of it is 10%, and the rest of it was coming from state and or federal money. Some of those big projects will be a lot harder if we don't have a good partner.
Cutting the sales tax on groceries, eliminating it, and cutting down on the grow operations, on the medical marijuana act. Today he said he wants to eliminate it, put that up for a vote of the people and eliminate that. So that was the news today. So that does, and they also decreased the income tax by, was it a quarter or half? A quarter, and I'm sure that relates to a whole lot of money.
The proposition question about, sorry, we're expanding politics, and I don't want to talk politics, but, try to get the proposition question about ad valorem tax, out to a vote of the people. As far as ad valorem tax directly affecting the city, it will not directly affect the city from that standpoint. What will affect us is then how our schools and how are the county going to be funded, and what part of, in theory, revenue that we're collecting now are we going to have to share or give up in order for them to still achieve, what they need to do in those pieces. So, there's some referendums out there, potentially that will raise, for all of those that provide public services, will raise some issues that we need to be ready to look at and address from that standpoint.
other questions for Russ? All right, thank you, Russ. Move on to item number 8, presentation of city attorney report and monthly invoice.
I think that I reported that the truck stop across from Sooner is funded and is going. I got that confirmed by the bank, which is wonderful. I didn't have a chance to call them today to see when that would start. With respect to 319 7th Street, that issue, which was on the agenda at the last meeting, I determined that that should be returned to the Planning Commission for them to review it again. If you remember their recommendation, although unanimous among the members, requested more legal input and also an annual renew of a use by review, which our policies don't permit. So I felt before we bring it back, to this body, we ought to send it there. And I can tell you that I've worked all day, and I don't think that Nate would mind me saying he's directed me to head this up. He is recusing, anything to do with this. Recognizes that that would be best, and I would agree. So I got that memo today. We worked both with Matt Biswell and Renee on some of the technical issues. I started working on legal memorandum, and also, we talked about an amended ordinance that may be necessary with respect to that. I got about halfway through that today. So I'd say I'm about 50% done, but 50% scary. It's not done till it's done. The Planning Commission meeting on that will be February 26th. That's their normal Planning Commission meeting. Next Monday, we'll be meeting again with the Oklahoma Conservation Commission, finalizing the reimbursement agreements and the items which we need to finalize in order to move forward with the dam. And then the last part of my memo really addresses the number of meetings I attended, memorandums I prepared, legal opinions I prepared, and agreements that I prepared and or amended, which were fairly significant. You guys are doing a whole lot of business this January, and so that filtered down to me. Any questions?
The CCC Park,
Yes.
is that something you can explain in more detail?
Yes. A doctor, one of your doctors, donated $10,000 worth of work out there. It was clearing and grubbing, correct?
Yeah, clearing a bunch of the cedars.
A bunch of cedars. You had to pay, as I remember, tens of thousands of dollars. I found you Alvarado from Enid that bid really well over here and came over here. Heck, that might have been 8 or 10 years ago, and did a lot of work. The doctor got a company to do that, paid that, and I prepared a donation letter to him, which he could use for tax purposes. Actually, about $10,000 worth of value. So that's some significant work out there.
Thank you. I think that's just another one of the crown jewels, though, that we need to try to find a way to continue to improve and make better. Along with our downtown, that's a couple things that are unique to us and what we have, and to have that many WPA structures in a small park like that is unique, and so thank you to him.
Yes. And that was Dr. Baird?
Baird.
Baird, yeah. The final thing I'll tell you, and we said it in the meeting, and that is, the reason I'm bringing this up, it shows such a strong commitment, and Courtney reiterated it. You know, our sister city, Blackwell, also has an REH up there. And part of the power in that REH is that Stillwater has 2 REHs. And so they can expense it a lot better. It makes it able to, continue that program. And so their term is running out. It runs out at the end of this year, so that we've got less than 11 months left. And we start negotiating that and very quickly believe that we've come to an agreement, at least at the meeting. We had agreed on all terms. I've prepared that agreement back. It provides for a 10-year extension. So, the word for us is that Stillwater wants to continue to be partner here in healthcare, and I think that's good for Perry. That's good for Blackwell. So.
Thank you, Bryce. Anybody have any other questions for Bryce? All right, let's move on to item number 9. So you've got an updated one in front of you that Nate handed out. All right, here we go.
This small form right here.
This small form right here, small packet.
And the update there is just, I'll let Lawrence read. I know he's excited, so.
I'm so
I'll tell you
excited to
about
read
it.
this. All right. An emergency ordinance of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending Chapter 17 of the Perry Municipal Code 2022 by the addition of a new Article 7 entitled Stormwater Management System, providing for Division 1 entitled In General, providing for Section 17-701 entitled Statutory Authorization, providing for Section 17-702 entitled Finding of Fact, providing for Section 17-703 entitled Statement of Purpose, providing for Section 17-704 entitled Definitions, providing for Section 17-705 entitled Duties Erector, providing for Section 17-706 entitled Stormwater Drainage Fund, providing for Section 17-707 entitled Master Drainage Plan, providing for Section 17-708 entitled Subdivision Plat, Site Plan, and Building Permit Approval, providing for Section 17-709 entitled Stormwater Mitigation, providing for Section 17-710 entitled Development Fee Requirements Credits, providing for Division 2 entitled Stormwater Drainage Fees, providing for Section 17-720 entitled Definitions, provided for Section 17-721 entitled Stormwater Utility Service Charge and Exemptions, providing for Section 17-722 entitled Collection of Service Charge, providing for Section 17-723 entitled Calculation of Equivalent Service Unit, providing for Section 17-724 entitled Stormwater Development Fee, providing for Division 3 entitled Stormwater Development Fee, Stormwater Utility Service Charges, providing for Section 17-730 entitled Stormwater Utility Service Charges, providing for Section 17-731 entitled Stormwater Development Fees, providing for Division 4 entitled Technical Standards, providing for Section 17-740 entitled Technical Standards, providing for repealer, savings, codification, severability, effective date, penalty, and declaring an emergency. There you go.
Very well done.
So I think most of you were here last time. The purpose of this ordinance is threefold. The first was to create an impact fee for new businesses coming in to contribute to the drainage fund based on the ESUs, which is the impervious surface that they're putting in parking lots, roofs. The second purpose was to make sure that people continued paying the $3. So we didn't want to up that. So residents and businesses right now pay a $3 monthly fee towards the drainage fund. So that has not changed. And then the third reason to create this was actually, and this is the most important, was to create a standard in Perry to hold developers to. We don't have any standard in place right now. It's just based on state law, and we really need a standard that we can hold them to. So just an update on that. In terms of what's before you versus what you saw last time, the only change I made was an update in some of the section numbers. And then if you look at section 17730, which is the stormwater utility service charges, the original ordinance had kind of a table that had $3 no matter the ESU. But when I looked at the math on that, it didn't translate. the reason I did it is so that we could increase that at a later date, and we wouldn't have to do a huge update to the ordinance. But the math wasn't working, and so I ended up just nixing that chart table and instead putting rates per water meter, $3 a month, which is currently what they are paying. So wrote the vast majority of this ordinance, and I asked him not to come tonight because there wasn't any questions last time. He is available by phone now if you do have technical questions about the ordinance.
I don't have any technical questions. There's a reference on page 4 of a master drainage plan. Is that a gigantic engineering undertaking that
Yeah.
could cost us a lot of money, or is it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, great question. Joe asked about this last time, if I remember correctly, and this isn't allocating funding to do that. It's not creating positions to do that. It's just saying, hey, we're going to work towards this. It's, it might take years to get done in a small town like this. I think that's probably what's going to happen. But it does give us a document to start working towards and saying, hey, this drainage here has an issue because of this downstream clog that we need to address, and we can start putting that into a document that we'll call Master Drainage Plan, which has already been created. I created the document.
But today, there's no plan to go tell him that we need 10,000 hours of work to go put this plan together in the next 90 days or whatever.
No, there's no money allocated towards it. There's no plan in place to do that. If we want to consider doing something like that, it would be a future budget cycle or an amendment.
And then I noticed, there's some definitions Lawrence talked about, but on the last few pages, it looks like there's several definitions that are stricken. Can you walk me through what?
Yeah, that's
what
based
that
on
is?
that's based on what we currently had in there, I think. That's the old.
That's the old ordinance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're just showing you both.
Which is just state law, basically. The old. And I apologize for the length. I really did read it and try to go through and trim. It's a very technical ordinance. It's tough to get rid of stuff, so.
The good news is it doesn't change anything for any of the utility customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we continue to collect what we have. We continue to use that for drainage projects in the community, and that has become very helpful. We've used 100,000 or more once on a project, and it takes a while. I would say it's on the lower end of what folks charge, but we are not suggesting that you should raise that fee. We need to work with what we have.
So just stating it again, just to make sure it's clear that nothing will change for any residents or any business with adoption of this ordinance.
Unless they're doing new development.
Right.
Yeah, that's correct.
This applies to new development.
Back to the master drainage plan. I had a very similar question that you had, and it does say that shall develop a master drainage plan, but if I also recall, it references other places where some of these decisions come from the master drainage plan. And if we don't have one when we adopt this, what does that mean?
Well, the way I see it is somebody comes to build an Amazon. They say, hey, we don't want to do this drainage thing. We say, you have to do this drainage thing because we know about this issue. We then would analyze the issue, write it in our master drainage plan, and say, you need to do these things.
I don't remember the numbers, but the master drainage plan is quite a few dollars to get done. Do we have any idea what that will entail as far as cost?
No, yeah, I don't have any idea. My plan is to work on it as we go, so that we're not paying an upfront cost for something that we may not use for a long time,
we did a master sewer plan.
Mhm.
And then over a period of, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, we implemented all of it. It would be nice to know if in this quadrant of the city, that if land comes up for sale, and that there's going to be development there, that maybe we ought to be looking at buying that property to turn into a place to drain water, slowly do it. I suppose doing it at a 50,000 foot deal would have some value. But to do a master drainage plan, which really talks about channels and all that, would be unbelievably expensive. I mean, just like our sewer plan was, and then would have to come with plans and specs and all that. And but we ought to be looking from a really high area, so that that those things don't pop up. We have a FEMA, or and under FEMA we have a floodplain administrator, and that is, quite frankly, part of the overlay of the whole city. You put those districts over there, and all of those are floodplains of a different category, which have issues. So, we don't have a plan, but we do have a lot of base information that is available. When people develop in an area, we can look at that base information and determine whether it's in a floodplain, what kind of floodplain it is, and what might need to be done. So, maybe at some point in some budget, you do some elevated, thing that then you can implement, but there is no intention of knocking out a plan with plans and specs, because we just don't have the funding, and there's no place to go get that funding.
And
Right.
frankly, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, let me just add in, about a decade ago, up at Woodward, we put in a drainage plan like this, and in a very similar situation where we knew that there were some concentrated pieces that really had to get addressed up front versus then the long-term piece of filling in those projects. Over the last decade, the two main problems got solved. The drainage fees. Matter of fact, we borrowed money to use to kind of do that. We got that part taken care of, got that solidified. But then 2 or 3 other little ones have come up as developments happened, as those kind of things happen. But having this drainage, having a similar ordinance in place and having that drainage fee kind of gave a mechanism of a funding source. Now, don't get me wrong, it hasn't solved every problem up there. There are still things, and honestly, probably for the next 20 years, we will still be trying to solve those. But it did give the overview and the outline and the start of really a place that, hey, we're going to go with this, and now any expansions and any new developments that come in have to now kind of meet and go under, the auspice of what's there. So from that standpoint, looking back a decade ago, I can tell you that has been a successful piece. We can go talk to the city up there, the administration and those people, and they'll say, yes, this needed to happen over here. And so I think this is a great step from that standpoint in getting this down the road. Updated, not that we didn't have a drainage fee, but getting this updated and now getting this moving down the road in that direction.
Development standards, drainage development standards is the true piece, and to be able to present those to new developers, very important.
I was just gonna add, plan can be as formal or informal as you want it to be. We're already doing this with Tower Edition, for example, right? When we talked about Tower Edition a few weeks ago, you guys all brought up this issue of, well, there's a big drainage problem there, right? And so we evaluated it based off of that drainage plan that we had in our head. So we're already doing this. This is just making it formal. We didn't, maybe you guys paid for, that information before, but it seems like we know a lot of the issues, we just have to codify them.
Are you filling the role as director to begin with?
Yeah. Yep. Yep, and I'll use Co and Critter and David Payne as I did with Tower Edition to evaluate things that need evaluating.
I think the only other thing I wanted to get with you prior to the meeting, and I just wasn't able to, but I'd like to know, like, what the impact, say, those 11th Street homes that were built, like, if they were done post this, what the impact would be, or say, like, the junior high or a bigger project as well.
Like the fees,
Yeah, like,
I have some examples for you. Because I ran the math on them. So something like Easy Drill would be, oh wait, hold on. $1,200 for Easy Drill. Most of that's their parking lot. A Crow Industrial Park, their plant, would have been $7,000. The Budweiser building, $1,600.
And that's a one-time fee or a
Yeah.
When they were building,
But,
when they were building or submitting their
Correct.
plans, that would have been to cover that.
Yep.
As opposed to currently we just do $3.
yeah, they pay nothing,
Right.
and then they pay $3 once they're established, $3 per month. So this establishes, hey, you have to pay a one-time impact because
Mhm.
what you're doing is causing a big impact.
Right.
And we're gonna use those funds you're putting in to help mitigate that impact. And then, yeah, after that, you have to pay $3 a month like everybody else to help us
Right.
with continued drainage maintenance.
but there, if I understand this correctly, if they do mitigation during the build, those fees can be reduced.
They can be, absolutely, yeah. And yeah, you're understanding.
and that would drive them to cooperate with us on how best to take that water or which direction or.
Yep,
Okay.
or to do drainage
Yeah.
basins or ponds or things, yeah. Yep.
These fees are a place to start. Co has told me that he thinks that they are low. And I believe that's true, that they are low. But, we need a place to start. And the real key here is that we have design standards, okay? We're not killing anyone with these fees, I assure you. That's what Co told me.
Yeah.
Because he did some of these computations.
He did, yeah, and his recommendation was higher.
It was higher, and we haven't done that. We're still trying to induce development, encourage development.
That
and-
was my concern,
Right.
I'm sure we talked about.
Yeah, by way of this, you're being altogether reasonable.
Well, I really like the negotiation piece because there's another incentive for them to work with us instead of just paying it and then doing what they want. I'll move that we approve ordinance number 2026-2.
I'll second it.
And Coffee,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes,
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right, item 10. Consider approval of the emergency clause for ordinance number 2026-02.
So moved.
second.
Coffee,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes,
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Item 11, consider approval of award of the water line kill-out project to Lone Hickory Cattle Company as the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $675,510, contingent upon approval of bid by the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. Authorize the mayor to execute any public construction contract after receiving executed contract and approval of bonds, insurance, and power of attorney by the city attorney.
So again, Co would normally come and present on this, but in order to save money, I didn't have him come because I thought it was pretty straightforward. We had 4 bids. The lowest responsible bidder is Lone Hickory, who we've worked with in the past and have a great relationship, and they've done great work for us. So the recommendation is approval based on OWRB approving those bids.
Would this be their third project with us?
Yeah, they did the
They do
They
the
did
railroad.
the railroad
Yeah.
board, they did 25th Street,
Yeah.
and then they had a change order there, so yeah, this would be third.
Yeah.
And so far, all their projects, from what I understand, have went seamless.
Yeah, so maybe seamless isn't quite the right word, but they've gone very well.
Yeah.
And this was a very competitive bid, significantly under engineer's estimate.
Yeah, his final estimate, I think, was 800,000.
When would this start?
Chrissy, do you remember what they said in that meeting? I can't remember.
It was gonna be up because they also have something in Pawnee, so they said that Co would have to tell them which one was gonna be needed to get done first.
But materials were
Start.
far enough out that it didn't make a big difference for us because the concern was freezing pipes, and materials will be beyond. I mean, we're 6 weeks
It's
plus.
gonna be a while, yeah, 'cause it's,
So we just gotta make it through February.
Just gotta make it through February.
And so, on something like this, is it normal that the mayor would execute it instead of the city manager?
Yeah.
Yeah, if not, we would have given you one of those resolutions dedicating, we've done that before, and I don't have any issue with, you kind of mentioned it before, where you would authorize Nate to do, all things with respect to this contract and only bring back reports. And, we could put that on the next meeting if that's what, that's what you want. We did it for the construction of the building, and if the council's good with that, you can't do that here.
Right.
Definitely approve this, but we could bring that resolution back. We could talk about that at the next meeting. Which, saves you going back over this and requires him to prepare your reports on it, so.
Because we've done that on what, 2 or 3 projects? Or just the one?
there's
No,
two.
I did it on
Two?
2 at least. We did the water treatment plant roof. We've done the airport now. I want to say we did one other. I'll let you know if I think of it, but at least those 2.
Motion to approve award of Laurel and Killout to Lone Hickory Cattle Company, contingent upon approval of bids by Oklahoma Water Resource Board.
Second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. Now let's go ahead and put that on the next meeting, just for discussion.
Will do.
All right, item 12, any new business? Seeing none, it's adjourned.
Okay. I beat you.
I was there.
You were there? All right, let's call our meeting to order for the Perry Municipal Authority. Have roll call.
I did. Sorry, I was explaining something.
Oh, you weren't ready. You said you
I
were ready.
was. Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall. Whoops. Davis.
Here.
Coldiron.
Here.
Rupp.
Here?
Williams.
Here.
O'Shea.
Here.
Worthing.
Here. All right, we've got quorum. Item 1, our consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Second.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Coldiron.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. All right, item 5, any new business? Let's adjourn.
Okay,
You really ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe?
Here.
Oh, you want to call to get meeting together? Did you
We
do that?
can. We can call it to order.
That'd be all right with you.
I was ready. You asked, I was. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you.
Oh, well, let's call a meeting to order.
Okay, coffee.
Here.
Okay, Bledsoe.
You.
Marshall. Davis.
Here.
Goldar.
Here.
Rupp.
Present.
Williams.
Here.
Bochet.
Here.
Wortham.
I'm here. All right, we've got quorum, right?
We do.
All right. Item 1, our consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Second.
Christie, are you ready for roll call?
Nope.
All right.
Got quorum, but I don't know about order.
No.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Bochet.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right, item 5, any new business? Adjourn.